At some point, many men don't stop dating because they don't care anymore. They stop because they learned something the hard way. And today, I want to talk about the quiet reason why so many men are investing less. Not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. Yes, there is a reason why many men have reduced their effort in dating. And before we go any further, let me say something very clearly. This is not about shaming women. This is not about attacking anyone. I ask you to keep the discussion respectful in the comments. What I'm about to talk about is a pattern, a phenomenon that has become very visible on social media. I'm using examples only to explain what is happening beneath the surface. Right now, there are countless videos circulating online where women explain what they call the bare minimum a man should bring to dating, flirting, or a relationship. According to these videos, the minimum often includes this. He should initiate the date. He should plan it. He should pay. He should bring flowers. He should give compliments. He should be attentive, thoughtful, emotionally available, and visibly making an effort. On the surface, these expectations don't sound outrageous, but the tone in many of these videos feels accusatory, as if men are failing, as if they are lazy, or as if they simply don't care enough. And that raises an important question. Why are so many men actually doing less than before? Why have some men consciously reduced their investment in dating? And why, in many cases, does that decision actually make sense? Let's be honest first. Yes, there are men who make no effort at all. Men who are passive, careless, emotionally unavailable, and then complain when nothing comes back. In those cases, responsibility is obvious. But there is another group of men. Men who could invest more. Men who understand that initiative, planning, and effort traditionally come from them at the beginning. And yet, they hold back. Not because they lack interest. Not because they don't value women. But because experience has taught them caution. Most men know that in the early stages, they are expected to lead, to initiate contact, to organize dates, to invite, to pay, to show attention. That's not new. But here's the question many men quietly ask themselves now. Why should I invest heavily before I even know whether this woman is genuinely interested in me, or just in what I provide? This is the emotional breaking point for many men. And let me be very clear. I have no issue with women having standards. Having expectations means valuing yourself, and that is healthy. But expectations must come with awareness. First, it is reasonable to expect effort from a man only if you are also investing at a similar level. Interest must be mutual. Energy must flow both ways. A good man doesn't expect perfection. He expects reciprocity. And reciprocity doesn't look very different from what men are expected to do. She gives him attention. She invests time. She gives small compliments. She might suggest a date idea. She reaches out on her own. She shows curiosity, asks questions, wants to know him as a person. She initiates closeness. She suggests seeing each other again. These are not extraordinary gestures. They are basic signs of genuine interest. A connection only grows when both sides nurture it. That this even needs to be said already tells us something about the current dating climate. Second, and this is uncomfortable but necessary to say, men do get used, emotionally, financially, energetically. There are entire guides and videos teaching women how to extract attention, validation, or resources from men without real interest in return. So when a man has experienced this once, or even a few times, something changes inside him. Not consciously always. Often it becomes a quiet, protective instinct. I'll hold back this time. I'll invest less at first. I won't be the only one pouring energy in again. This doesn't mean he is bitter. It means he is learning. And yes, of course, one should never project one bad experience onto all women. I say that again and again. But emotional self-protection is a human response. If reciprocity were common from the start, we wouldn't be seeing these conversations online at all. Neither the videos demanding more from men, nor this one explaining why men hesitate. Now let's talk about why it's actually not a bad idea for men to invest moderately at the beginning, while still being respectful, kind, and sincere. When you don't overinvest immediately, you give yourself something valuable, information. You get to see how the other person behaves when there is no luxury package attached. Is she interested in you, or in the experience you provide? As a woman, I can tell you this very clearly. When a woman is genuinely attracted to a man, she does not require extravagance at the beginning. Moderate investment is enough. What does that look like? You are polite. You are attentive. You show interest. You suggest spending time together. Whether the first, second, or third date is a long walk, a movie, cooking together, going to a Christmas market, swimming in a lake, or even grocery shopping and making dinner. It doesn't matter. If she likes you, she wants time with you. She stays in contact. She reaches out. She enjoys simple moments. But if that's not enough for her, if she decides this is too little because there were no flowers, no expensive restaurant, no concert tickets, no grand gesture, while she herself hasn't invested more either, then the connection will likely fade. And that fading is information. Giving less at the beginning does not automatically mean disinterest or lack of appreciation. And to be very clear, this is not an argument against giving flowers, paying for dinner, or planning beautiful dates. It is an argument for balance. If she is willing to stay at the table when the menu is simple, and she brings something to the table herself, then you know the interest is real. That naturally filters out those who are only present for the benefits. There is another reason why over-investing early can be problematic: authenticity. Some men put on a performance during the dating phase. They become overly generous, overly attentive, overly accommodating, not because that is who they are, but because they believe this is what is expected, often unconsciously. They hope it will increase their chances. They play a role. But when effort does not match personality, problems are inevitable. If this level of investment is not your natural rhythm, sustaining it long-term will feel exhausting. And when you later reduce your effort to a normal, comfortable level, it can feel like withdrawal to the other person. Not because you became worse, but because expectations were set unrealistically high. Which leads to the third important point. When you give 100% from the very beginning, you establish a standard, and humans adapt quickly. Once someone experiences the full package, it becomes difficult to feel satisfied with 80% or even 70% later. This applies to relationships just as much as it does to lifestyle. If the early phase is filled with constant surprises, expensive dates, and extraordinary effort, normal behavior later can feel like decline, even if it's healthy and realistic. You end up placing pressure on yourself to maintain a level you may never have intended to sustain forever. That's why moderation at the beginning is not stinginess, it's wisdom. Interest can grow. Effort can increase naturally. There should be room to deepen connection over time. When both people invest gradually, what develops is not entitlement, but appreciation. And that is exactly what healthy, balanced connections are built on. Discussion open.